So
Wow.
CIA is nothing like you see in the movies, and I want to flag that early on
Oh,
because
wow.
the movies make it look way more action-oriented, way more interesting, way more diabolical
Yeah.
than it really is. And CIA in real life is far more like bureaucratic and kind of mundane and pedestrian than you would think. About 98% of what we do is so boring nobody notices. Only about 2% of what we do is worth making a movie about.
Sort of like milk.
Like milk, yeah.
Yeah, 2% milk.
Only 2% of it's fat.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it maybe if I could make a comparison, it's like private eyes. I've met private eyes in real life, and everyone thinks, oh, private eyes are driving around Hawaii in a red Ferrari solving these mysteries. And 99% of private eyes, they sit in cars outside buildings waiting for people to go in and out. They say it's the most boring job ever.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, it's so much like most of what you see in media, like hospitals.
Yeah.
Hospitals are not exciting places. Ask anybody who works in a hospital. That's why it's not an exciting
Well, unless
place.
you're a clown, and then it's exciting, you know.
Or lawyers. Most of what lawyers do is
Yeah.
not fun. It's the courtroom scene that looks so sexy in a movie,
Yeah.
but that scene only happens maybe twice in the lifetime of a high impact attorney.
Right, right. Well, you've been you're in a dramatic field, but it sounds like it's not as dramatic as we would suspect.
And you don't want it to be dramatic. If it's dramatic, you're doing something wrong.
Oh, because you're bringing attention to yourself.
Yes, you're supposed to be in, be out. Nobody even knows you're there.
Lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
Covert.
Completely forgettable.
Wow. Now, I got to say, looking at you physically, you're not a forgettable guy. Like, you would stand out in a crowd with your look, your hair.
And
Is that a smart look for the CIA? Like, if you're at an Al-Qaeda meeting and the drummer from Iron Maiden standing in the corner, is that the right look?
Not when you're trying to be clandestine. That's a fair point. And this is not how I looked for most of my clandestine career. For most of my career with CIA, I was the forgettable brown guy, oftentimes in a country where brown is immediately ignored anyways. So
Right.
in the United States, we think we have a race problem,
Yeah.
but we had a black president. We have people of color that are all over our Senate
Yeah.
and our House. So, I mean, we have a mixed race history, but as far as being actively racist now, I would challenge that.
I
Compared
agree.
to the rest of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only race problem we have here is when I pull up to a light in my Tesla and some guy in a regular gasoline car tries to, drag with me.
Do they still try and do that? I would hope that
you don't want to race a Tesla.
you don't want to race a battery-powered electric vehicle.
I know. I had a guy pull up to me with a Corvette once, and he was like, "Oh, I had his music playing," and I just looked at him and I was gone. And he pulled up to me at the next. He goes, "Hey man, you're a fucking asshole." And I go, "Dude, you're the one. If you want a fast car, get a Tesla." This was when they were sort of out early, and he didn't know. Okay, so I got so many questions because it's a fascinating world. Everyone watching, I have 12 viewers, by the way. One in the Philippines.
Hi, Filipino viewer.
Yeah, Nungatunk garlic bread face. He lives down there on Walnut Street.
On one of the islands.
Yeah. But I want to get into kind of like the mindset of someone in the CIA. Like, are you one of those guys that's ultra perceptive? Like, when you walked in this studio, did you kind of do the okay, there's the light switch, there's the thing, there's the window, there's that? Like, are you one of those guys that walks in the room and like takes it all in, or is that sort of a myth?
No, it's not a myth. We really do learn what's called situational awareness.
Yeah.
And that situational awareness is something we kind of carry with us almost automatically. It doesn't mean that we pick up everything, but it means that we pick up broad strokes.
Well, what about people? What about reading people? And I don't care how invasive you get. I don't care how insulting or how complimentary. Like, we just met for the first time literally 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. Looking at me, and I can see the eyes, I can see the motors turning. Looking at me, and not knowing much more about me than maybe what you've seen in the press. Now that you're feeling my energy, now that we're face to face, we're 4 feet apart, is there any analyses you would make where you have interpretations of me and no holds barred?
So there's a few things. So first, I would say you're energetically,
Yeah.
you're very open. Now, I don't know whether you are a high energy person by nature or whether you are high energy in this moment because you're preparing to be in front of cameras, be in front of
Right.
lights, or if with your experience and with your career, lights and cameras equal, energy comes on. But your energy outside was equal to your energy inside right now.
Okay.
I will say that you project energy very directly, very intentionally. Your voice is loud, it's booming. Your speech has a pace that's very consistent but slower. So is that learned behavior through your career, or were you built for this career by what happened to you as a child? And now you know you have to entertain to get attention, to keep attention.
Right.
You have to speak slowly in order for people to understand you. I don't know where it's coming from,
Yeah.
but it's there and it's consistent on camera and off camera.
Interesting.
So it makes me feel like if I wanted to test what the limits were, I'd want to spend a full day with you. I'd want to spend a day with you around people. I'd want to spend part of a day with you in private. Like, when do you change?
Yeah.
Do you change at all? How much of this is truly you? How much of this is learned?
Okay, fair, great analyses, and I'll illuminate you on one of them. The slow sort of speech pattern. It's just how I was born, and through the course of my life, I've literally had people like wonder if I was slow.
I don't get that.
When I was younger, I think. And then when I was in high school, the kids used to call me stoner because I sort of had a bit of a drawl. And then when I lived in Europe, all the Germans, all the Europeans were convinced I was from Texas because I sort of had a bit of a slower drawl. And so you nailed it with that.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very clear speech pattern.
Yeah.
That's largely absent of a heavy Canadian accent.
Yeah, somehow that got weaned off of me.
Yeah.
I didn't try to do it. It's just I've been here 30 years.
So it's very natural, but it's inviting, it's ingratiating. I would be shocked if you don't have. I would be shocked if not everybody feels like your friend the first time they meet you.
Oh wow, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, I like to feel the same. It's reciprocal. When I meet people, I like to put out the friendship vibe.
It's coming through. So
Well, let me ask you this, and I don't even why I would expose myself to this. Anything nefarious coming through? Any deviant or scary or violent? Anything and nope, don't hold back. Is there anything in my eyes or on my aura where you're just like, whoa, dude, what's in the basement?
no, actually not at all.
Oh, okay.
I can understand why people would assume that you might not be intellectually advanced.
Okay.
I can totally sense
Yeah.
that because you're so chill and you're so open, where generally speaking, the smarter somebody is, the more closed and the less open they are. Education kind of breeds distrust.
Interesting.
So CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people, that means they can win deals. For others, they can spot liars. Some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people. When you meet somebody who's highly educated, oftentimes you feel threatened by them. You want to keep distance from them. They will keep distance from you because they'll use vocabulary that you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
So it feels very uncomfortable around a very smart person.
Right.
But you don't use vocabulary that's isolating, and your energy is so open. It's almost as if the natural trust makes people think, well, you must not be smart. To be this friendly, you must not be smart. And that's it. It's in your best interest. It's an advantage for you because people will kind of always underestimate you at first.
Looks like stupid's paying off, gang. Last laugh's on you, smarties. Looks like dummy got it this time.
That's right. Gullah garlic bread face. Just
Yeah,
remember that.
garlic bread face and you browners. Dummy came out on top this time. I like that. Well, that's interesting because that's a huge, I mean, when you're in the field.
You have to learn not to be smart.
Oh, really?
Because so many of the people they recruit are
Right.
very, very smart people.
Right.
And if you think about the average American experience, you're supposed to work hard,
Yeah.
earn accolades, and then like promote. You're supposed to look sophisticated, act sophisticated,
Yeah.
speak sophisticated. You're supposed to demonstrate your power through your intellectual learning.
Okay.
And then you get to CIA and they're like, hey, you're here. You've arrived. You know,
Yeah.
Hooray, high fives, fist bumps. Now you need to be the dumbest person in the room. You need to learn how
Right.
not to talk about yourself. You need to learn how not to brag. You need to learn how to listen, how to subdue everything about you. You're used to wearing the nicest clothes so that everybody notices you. Stop doing that.
Be unassuming.
You're used to
Blend in.
You're used to having a great body so that people notice your body. Get rid of it. Like, do everything you can
Interesting.
to go gray.
I would say I would agree with all of that, but the idea of like not keeping your body in prime shape, knowing that, and correct me if I'm wrong, do CIA agents often run into scenarios where it gets physical and they might have to fight for their very life if they're uncovered or
If
they're
you-
in a precarious situation?
So it's a ladder of security. So almost like concentric bubbles, if you think about it, right? Put yourself in a bubble, and then you have a bubble around that bubble and a bubble around that bubble.
Let's just call it bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap.
Yeah.
So the first layer of bubble wrap is supposed to be your cover. So all of the backstopping, why you're there, who you are. So if you're supposed to be an academic, if you have a phenomenal body, those two things kind of contradict.
Don't fit.
Yeah. How do you have time to have that great body if you're a master in some Greek language?
Huh.
The two things contradict. So right away somebody meets them and they're like, this doesn't make sense. And the great body on the Greek academic makes them memorable. So even in an
Yeah.
academic setting, if you go to a language conference, you're not going to see a bunch of people who are fit. And when you do see somebody who's fit, they really stick out.
Huh.
So it starts to contradict the cover identity. So your first bubble of protection is your cover. So you have to prioritize your cover. Your second layer of protection starts to become your defense of your presence, what we would call cover for action or cover for, hold on, I just lost it. There's two different covers. It'll come to me later. But
okay.
Your cover for action is the cover that you use for doing the thing that you're doing.
Okay.
So you've got your first bubble wrap, why you're there at all.
Yeah.
And then your second bubble wrap, why you're doing the specific thing that you're doing. So consider somebody walking down a street through a neighborhood. They might be there, bubble wrap 1, because they're looking for a house. But that doesn't give them the cover for action to actually knock on a door or to open a mailbox or to, take a picture of a house.
Right.
It's harder then. So they have to have a different reason for describing why they're doing the thing that they're doing. That's your second layer of bubble wrap. And then only after both of those two bubble wraps fail do you ever have to worry about a police officer or a local watch person or a private security guard coming through and not believing your first bubble, not believing your second bubble, and then laying hands on you. Once they lay hands on you, we use something called biomechanical advantage, which is different than physical strength, to be able to defend ourselves. And that makes it so that whether you're a 55-year-old fatty or whether you're a 22-year-old partially disabled person, you can still use self-defense techniques without having to be strong or fit or superior biologically.
And this is part of the CIA training where
Correct.
I'm guessing it's all about leverage and maneuvering and all like judo and
Right.
yeah.
We have our own self-defense system.
Yeah.
We call it operational defense. It's defensive tactics that use biomechanical advantage. So essentially, it really is to the place where some bodybuilder from down the street can come up here. He can outweigh you by 40 pounds and be 25 years younger than you, and you can still take him to the ground.
Yeah.
Because you understand the biomechanical advantage.
Yeah.
The physics. He doesn't understand.
The physics. And I think judo is actually a martial art that leans into that a lot, where you could have a bigger guy and you grab him by the collar and you shift him. You literally just shift that weight and use his weight against him.
Correct.
And you can shift him and spin him. I took judo when I was younger, and so I understand the physics of all of this.
And then on a smaller scale, because judo requires momentum.
Yeah, that's right.
But if you look at it something like mixed martial arts, they have pressure points. Pressure points don't require momentum, but they are places on your body where a little bit of pressure goes a long way.
Yeah.
That's more of what we call a biomechanical advantage.
Yeah, that stuff. That's you got to kind of study that. So dipping into the violence in your career, because I'm sure everyone would love to hear, were there moments, and I don't know if you're allowed to talk about them, were there moments where you confronted violence and you dare I say, were in a life-threatening situation where you had to literally fight your way out or shoot your way out or whatever?
So we don't shoot our way out of many situations.
Well, you don't. I do. Let's not put your training on me. I shoot. Okay.
But it's because when you're undercover in a foreign country, most countries don't allow guns. So you can't actually have a weapon on you. And if you had a weapon, you'd want to keep it not only undisclosed,
Yeah.
but also undischarged, because as soon as you're the one in the street with a gun,
Yeah.
even the police officers don't have guns in a lot of countries, right?
But what about sort of the spy guns with the silencers and the gun in the pen, and like, don't you have those kind of?
We have all that technology
Ooh.
and more because it's modernized, but that stuff is largely used by paramilitary officers in very specialized operations.
Got it.
Where they have other teams. But that doesn't mean that we don't run into violence. Actually, the most common violence that we run into overseas is...
Don't say domestic, because if you tell me you go overseas on a covert mission and a housewife slapped you, I'm ending this right now.
No, luckily it's not that either.
Okay.
But it's crimes of opportunity and petty theft. Because people see a clandestine officer and they don't think that person's threatening. Remember how I was telling you earlier?
Right,
you
yeah,
blend in.
unassuming, yeah.
So there's some single gray-haired lady walking down the street at 11 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
right, in some shady district,
Yeah.
and everybody looks at her and they're like, she's a dumbass. She's got to be
Let's
a tourist.
get her.
Let's get her. Well, she is also carrying $100,000 in her purse because she's on her way to do a dead drop to meet, to pass money to some Russian
Right.
informant. So she can't let that $100,000 go. She's trained in biomechanical advantage. So this person will assault her with a knife,
Yeah.
a baton, whatever else, and then get their ass kicked in this back street
By the old lady.
by the old lady.
Now, wait, is this a legitimate senior citizen, or is this a guy like you in a wig and dressed as an old lady?
Well, I wouldn't dress like an old lady because that's not a disguise I can maintain. But
in the dark, going up a street at night, you wouldn't do that? So it's a legitimate senior citizen
It's a legitimate-
with 200 grand
100
and
grand.
knows how to kick her way out of a
Bingo.
biker bar.
So it's not an
Hello.
octogenarian, right? We're not talking about
A
some
what?
82
What are you, Arian?
It's not an 80-plus-year-old person.
Well, what did you say?
Octogenarian.
Is that like an ostrich with a lisp? What is an ostrigenarian?
An octogenarian
What?
is a very old person, usually over the age of 80. But
Wow.
it's easily someone between 40 and 60 who's
Okay.
still in their career,
Yeah.
who's doing exactly the dead drop plan that we just discussed, male or female, who is being assaulted by 2 or 4 people who are anywhere between 16 and 25.
So a group, they could handle themselves in a group.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. And that's a very common thing. Also, like women, thin, underassuming women
Yeah.
might be sexually harassed or might be physically assaulted, might even be an attempted rape. And she would be able to dispatch her opponent very quickly and move on with
Love
her
that.
career. So for me,
Yeah.
I'm a thin brown male, and oftentimes where I operated,
Now you keep saying brown. To me, I would have thought you were a white guy. Is that insulting?
it's not.
What does brown mean?
Well, brown in the United States just means not easily sunburned on the beach in North Carolina,
Huh.
right? So
Does it bother you that we have to break down all these colors for all the human beings that live in America?
it bothers.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's silly to me.
To hear you have to refer to yourself as brown, then I should be going, well, I'm pasty pink. As a pasty pinky, I should, I hate that we have to do this.
Yeah, it's just.
But here we are.
it's
So
exactly
keep going,
right.
Brown. What has Brown done for you lately? God, it's awful.
It's
What are we, a box of crayons?
It's
hey, there
practical.
goes burnt sienna over there with violet crumble. How are ya? God.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
It's just it's a way of. We
Yeah.
also have to break down gender. We also have to break down age. We also have to break down nationality. We have to break down lots of stuff.
Well, you already broke down age calling an old bag an ostrich farmer. What was the word you used? Osteoporosis. What was it?
Well, I like those better.
What'd you say?
Octogenarian.
God, I learned a new word today. Thank you, CIA,
I
if
like
you're watching, and I know
Ostrich
you
farmer.
are. Okay, so let's go back to the Brown is walking around, and did you have a confrontation?
Yeah, so several. I've had maybe
Ooh.
3 or 5 encounters with criminals
Yeah.
who underestimate my capabilities because they think that I'm putting myself in a dangerous situation. So I've been
Yeah.
assaulted with a knife once. I've had multiple gangs of 2 or 3 people roll up on me.
Wow.
And generally speaking, once any kind of criminal realizes that you do know what you're doing, they just disperse.
Yeah, they're like, holy shit. It's like a little dog. You go, look at this. You kick a dog and they go, "Ah!" And then you're like, well, okay, like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But wait, when you say assaulted by a knife, Was said knife a dagger? Was said knife a switchblade? And did said knife penetrate your epidural layers? Like, or they probably won't even get close with you.
Well,
Describe the assault.
so most knives outside of the United States are actually very small. So you're talking about a blade that's less than 5 inches. So in my case, what I came
We're
across.
talking about knives.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking.
Okay? I just don't want to insult anyone. The browns, the whites, the pinks, the yellows, the purples, anybody.
Whatever your length is, it's intimidating. So for me, I was assaulted with a small blade. It may have been a switchblade. It didn't look like a switchblade. It looked like a single molded knife.
Like a hunting knife or something? Or
Yeah, it could have been. It also could have been a kitchen knife,
like a Ginsu?
like a less.
Did it have
refined
coleslaw on
Ginsu.
the blade? Could you see caprese salad in the wedges on the? Okay, so you were attacked by a chef.
yeah,
Keep going.
in an Asian country?
Yeah.
And then once the person presents the knife, and then
Yeah.
you can control their knife hand when there's techniques to control
Yeah.
the knife hand, then they don't want to be there anymore.
So was it a male that came after you?
Yeah.
And where was it? Outside or inside?
Outside, nighttime, kind of a back alley. Except it
Wow.
wasn't really an alley. It was more like a back rice field patty kind of situation.
Oh, there's a big difference. Where were you, in the alley or the rice field? Let me see.
Once you
Yeah.
explore Southeast Asia, they're strangely the same place. Yeah.
So wait a minute. It's the middle of the night.
It's late
You're
at
in a
night.
rice field for some reason. Were you hungry? What were you doing in the rice field? I got this egg roll, but I need something to go with it.
Yeah.
So you're in a rice field and
So a rice patty, if you will.
rice patty.
Which is
okay.
It's
Interesting.
I mean, shit, man. I was actually walking through Koreatown, and I came across people who are literally planting
rice?
planting papaya or planting apples. I don't even know.
It was probably marijuana if it was in L.A. Were they smoking the rice by any
There's a
chance?
live field that's being planted where you would expect an apartment building to be.
Wow. Okay, so you're in the rice paddy. Said male comes at you.
Right.
It's 2, 3 in the morning, midnight,
It's like 11:30.
11:30, just before midnight, which is also technically known as the witching hour.
Okay.
Does said assailant come at, I was going to say Brown, but I'll just say Andrew. Does said assailant come at you with knife overhead or
Yeah.
underhand?
They usually come. Most will present the knife underhand. So in this case, the person came out of the shadows,
Yeah.
flanking me on the side. I was able to identify there was a person there as I was walking through the area,
Whoa.
and then presented themselves, showed the knife, used pidgin English because they understood that I was not of the local culture.
Pidgin English.
So used pidgin English to
So
basically
this guy's
say,
in the middle of the night. He goes, hey.
That's straight pidgin. That's just pidgin.
Okay,
There's no
my
English there.
mistake. Sorry. Not up on my languages. Okay.
And basically says, you give me what's valuable. Give me what you have on you. Give me what's valuable.
Wow.
And I tell them I don't have anything that's valuable. I'm just crossing through. I
Yeah.
have some money. I have some money in my wallet, and that's it. And then they ask me for the money in my wallet. I open my wallet so they can see it. I throw out the dollar bill or the
Oh.
currency that I have in their
Yeah.
in their currency in front of them, and I put my wallet away. They take the money away. They come forward again. They say, "You have more." I say, "I don't have more." They come forward again, and then I actually grab the knife hand and I
Oh.
turn the knife hand so it's not pointing at me. And I tell them I don't have any more and I don't want a problem. And then I
Wow.
can feel them pulling away already. And then they pull away. I let go of their knife hand, and they disperse.
You're being very gentlemanly with this
You
kind
have
of.
you have to be, because
Yeah.
if you play out the alternate role, right? If I don't give them the money, if I escalate the scene, I
Yeah.
don't know if there's more people hiding in more
Yeah.
shadows that I haven't seen. Even if there are or if there aren't, if the assailant attacks me and I dispatch
Yeah.
the assailant, hurt the assailant starts screaming, that's going to cause people
Smart.
to look. When
See?
people look, you got a problem, because now what they see is you, a foreigner,
Yeah.
hurting one of them.
Well,
a
let's
local,
not say a foreigner. Let's say.
a brown. And we can't have that.
It's just I don't really ever hear a brown. That's just making me laugh somehow. But please refer to me as ugly,
Pasty?
pinkish, pasty,
that right? I think
eggshell, salamander white. Well, this is fascinating because, there's, I got to tell you, there's something more disarming, like when you get into a melee, as they call it, when two people collide violently and it becomes sort of like a cat fight, like, there's everything's furs flying and go, like, that's frightening. But I got to tell you, Andrew, there's something more disarming is when a guy's calm and cool and collective goes, here's my wallet. Here's what I have. I'll give you this. I won't get, and and then people are just like, this guy's too cool. I'm robbing him right now. And this guy's like totally like, he's making it almost like business-like.
Yeah, we call it de-escalation.
Yeah, it's very effective, and it's almost scarier than toxic energy coming at you.
Yeah, and we want to avoid escalation because escalation makes things unpredictable.
Yeah.
De-escalation keeps things where you're the one in control because you know what your next step is, but you're not presenting the predictable outcome to the aggressor.
Yeah.
When the aggressor sees what they predict to be true, then they stay focused on their agenda or they'll escalate their agenda. But if they are de-escalated immediately, if it's unpredictable what they're stepping into, they make mistakes.